Let's move on to the Saturday slate here for college football week 4, and we will begin with a noon kickoff between Maryland and Michigan. This one in the Big House. The Wolverines, a 16.5 point favorite in this one. The total, a very juicy 65.5. You mentioned unders. Is this one of them?
It's not actually. I don't think I'm going to mess around with that just because I think that Maryland can go, blow for blow with Michigan in terms of scoring. This is one of my favorite bets of the week. I'm taking Michigan minus 16.5 because I love Maryland. I love Maryland's offense. The world loves Maryland's offense. And I think Michigan is going to kick the ever-loving crap out of them in this game. So I'm going to take Michigan minus 16.5. That's also why I don't like under the points, because if Michigan's going to win big, Maryland could still score. I mean, Michigan could hang 55 on them. I don't love Maryland's defense all that much. But the Terps do have a running back who's interesting. His name's Roman Hemby. And I went back in the preview magazines and I dug through some preseason stuff, and he wasn't listed on the 2 deep. And now here he is with 32 carries on the season, rushing for 9.2 yards per carry. He's a real breakout star. I like this kid. And Maryland has really good wide receivers. That's the other reason I'm not going to go under here. You know, this could be a high scoring affair where Michigan possibly covers a spread. And, you know, when you get into those high totals, the variance is bigger, so point spreads, they're a little bit more interesting to bet on. So Maryland had a pretty good win against SMU last week. But other than that, these two teams have not played anybody. Michigan hasn't played. They have the easiest strength of schedule in the nation right now with Colorado State, Hawaii, and UConn.
Perhaps why we should take their FPI with a grain of salt, because they're number 4 right now behind Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State. Just a thought. What do you think?
So in my power rankings, I have them in the same tier as Clemson, which means I don't see a huge discrepancy between those two teams, just because Michigan's offense is pretty good, especially now that J.J. McCarthy is starting quarterback. I think he's a star. He's a bigger playmaker than Cade McNamara. But in terms of usable with a grain of salt, I think this team is very good. I mean, they had the easiest strength of schedule, but they're beating these teams by 50, almost 60 points. So I'm not terribly concerned about, their schedule's super easy now, they're going to play a better team and get beat. I don't think that's the case. So I like Michigan to cover 16.5. I think that they run away with it at home. There's just not a lot to go against the Wolverines so far.
If you like Michigan as well, I would advise jumping on this line early before we get to Friday or Saturday. As we record this here in the middle of the week, there are a couple of 17 starting to pop at FanDuel Sportsbook and DraftKings Sportsbook, still minus 16.5 at the other destinations. So go get that number early if you want to back the Wolverines, because it looks like the line is moving towards that 2 touchdown and a field goal margin of 17.